Platinum-selling artist Jesse Clegg is joining me in studio now. He's just released his brand new single off of his upcoming album, Use Me. Hello.
Hello.
You've just touched down in Cape Town?
Yes.
How was your flight?
Well, it was quite early, so I'm a little bit tired.
Shame.
But it was cool.
Yeah, you must be used to flying around, jet
Yeah,
setting.
definitely.
Do you get afraid of flying at all?
No, I don't. But I find myself getting more and more less tolerant of having to wait around or carry things, and when there's delays, I get very frustrated.
I get very frustrated when you're going through the security check and the person in front of you so obviously doesn't normally travel, and they have all of their things and they're trying to pile them in and then they forgot their phone in their pocket. That's the worst.
Or they get to the end of it and they're like, was there a laptop in this bag? And it's like, yeah, and then they have to take it all back again. We actually had one of the most frustrating airport experiences in my whole career about 2 weeks ago. We were going to fly to Durban to play a show with Joan Armatrading from East London.
Yeah.
And we arrived at the airport and the flight that we were taking was delayed for 2 hours. So we waited at the airport. There was only a Wimpy at the airport. So we just sat at the Wimpy for 2 hours, and then they announced that the flight was cancelled. And we had to be in Durban that night. So we got onto the next flight. We booked for the next flight and we were on and we managed to get a seat. And then at 6 o'clock, that flight was also cancelled.
No.
So we missed the show.
What were their reasons?
Both flights were cancelled. Just East
because
London airport just didn't want to help us out that day. I don't know why. It was terrible. So we had to fly home. It was the most annoying flight. And I was so sad on that flight home. And I was sitting next to someone who was flying for the first time.
Shame.
So I was like really bleak and she was all excited, and man, I think I might have ruined that experience for her.
I think you might have, but that's okay. You can give her an apology if you want.
Yeah, sorry about that. Flying is not usually that depressing.
Now we're here to talk about your new single,
Yes.
Use Me. And it's funny, you asked me before the interview if I'd heard it. And of course I've heard it.
Good, I'm glad.
And I've seen the music video. It's quite intense.
Yeah, it was a very intense shoot. We were in this sort of desert landscape somewhere in George. It's like a national park, and we had drones, those remote controlled drones.
I love those things.
Cameras, yeah, and it was quite terrifying because I was walking through these dunes and there was massive wind and there were drones flying around me filming, and every now and then a gust of wind would come and just sort of push the drone towards me, and these things have
they're
steel
dangerous.
propellers. Yeah, so it was. I was kind of looking over my head every 2 minutes to see if a drone was going to kind of chop my head off.
Besides from that, did you get to try and fly any of the drones?
No, I didn't try and fly them. But it was a very terrifying shoot actually, because I mean a lot of the time we were outdoors in the extreme wind and extreme cold, and I was also standing on rocks for some of the shoot, and there were waves crashing at my feet, and the tide was rising, and the crew were miles away, and every 30 seconds a wave would come and just crash a little bit closer, and eventually I was like, guys, I'm going to get killed. I need to actually get off of this rock.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, you're on those rocks and it doesn't really look like there's any clear pathway anywhere around you.
No.
And there's one scene in the video where you're facing the waves, and it looks like it's actually crashed, like it could have just touched your nose.
Actually, that wave, it's that big one that comes right up. I got off after that wave crashed because I was like, guys, this is really dangerous. Like, we need to actually cut this scene. And as I got off, another wave came and completely just drowned out the place where I was standing. So I would have been taken out if I'd been there for 20 more seconds.
Oh my gosh.
It was,
living on the edge, Jesse.
Yeah, it was
You're
totally living on the edge. It was also a very early morning shoot, so I think I wasn't thinking straight at that stage.
It seems that you don't think straight early in the mornings.
Yeah, that's pretty much.